All right, so we know how to declare an Angular module, albeit a very simple one. Let's now start adding some behavior, some interaction between the view, the model, and the controller, and let's do that now. Right now we have this login page, and as we said earlier, the HTML side is basically the view part of this model view controller bucket, right? This model view control architecture. So this will be the view, and its responsibility is to notify a controller, right, of any events that the user might undertake, right? So for instance, clicking on the login page or the register page, or typing here at the input fields, right? So those are basically the 1, 2, 3, 4 actions that we could take, right? Type into the input fields or click on buttons, right? And those would be, we would have to notify the controller of any events that would occur here. The controller would then have to do something, right? Handle that event, perhaps modify something in the model, some data, piece of data, and then provide that data back to the controller for rendering. Right. So let's start working with those ideas. Right. So this login here, right? It's going to be the view that's going to be rendered for the user. Right now we only have one view, the login view, but there could be many views, right? The register page might be another view. The profile page might be another view. There's lots of views. So let's handle one at a time, right? Let's handle just this one view first. Okay. So first I'll wrap our login page in a div. Okay. So only to make it distinct that this is currently the view that I'm handling, right? The view, this div is the wrapper of the view that I am handling right now. Okay, and for rendering purposes, it doesn't really do anything, right? If we refresh, it just added a layer around it. Okay, so this is going to be our view. We're going to tie this view to a controller that is going to be handling any events, any data that needs to flow either from the view to the controller, or any click events that need to flow from the view to the controller. And then the controller is going to need to feed back data back to the view for rendering. Yes? Right? So let's tie this view to a controller in Angular controller. So we're going to say that the controller for this particular page is going to be the login controller. So what we're doing here is that we're using a new attribute here that wasn't there before, right? It was declared by our Angular library, right? Angular declares all sorts of attributes that are tied to some JavaScript, right, behind the scenes that we haven't seen just yet, right, and adds the behavior, adds a mental model, right, in our heads, right, saying that, ooh, okay, so this is a view, and the controller for this view is this login controller, right, and so somewhere we would need to have this login controller declared somehow, right? Notice that if we refresh, it complains, saying, yep, I found the view. I see that you're trying to tie it and associate it to some controller, but I can't find it. It's not declared anywhere. Where is it? I can't find it. So let's go and declare it. Well, we're going to declare it here in the app.js, right? Here we have the module. Now we have to declare a controller in that module. So this is our application. Right, so this returns an instance of the module, and there it is. I have it. And then we can then use that same variable we just declared. We can then use it to declare other things, right? Such as I can declare a controller. I can declare a controller, and by using the controller function on that module. Notice that this is this app. Right, variable. This app variable is a reference to the module we just declared, right? And on that module, we can declare other things, controllers, directives, all sorts of things. We're going to focus on controllers just today. Okay. So we're going to declare this brand new controller, which we called it login controller. We declared it, and that's not enough. We need to implement it. Right now, we're just declaring it, saying that we're going to say that there's going to be a function, right, that has the same exact name that implements this controller, right? So there's going to be a function of the same name, right, that we are going to sometimes refer to as decorate. We decorate this function as a controller, right, and we make it available by its name, so that throughout the application, it is known as the login controller. If anybody's looking for a login controller with that name, for a controller with that name, that's the function. It's going to create an instance. It's going to use this as a constructor. It's going to create an instance, and so here's the reference to that instance, and everywhere I refer to the login controller is going to have that instance. So whatever I do in here is going to be available everywhere using this login controller. Everybody okay? So if I refresh, notice that it doesn't complain anymore. It says, okay, I found it. I found that you have declared this controller, and it's implemented in this function. Right? So if I do an alert hello from login controller, right? If I refresh, notice that it comes up. Right? So that instance is being executed, right, when I navigate to my login HTML. Everybody okay? Right? Yes? Right, so this here is executed because of this login controller. If I remove this, right, if I remove that, and I refresh, notice that it doesn't execute, right? There's no binding between the view and the controller. But once I bind it, right, now they're bound, right, and that instance is executed. All right? Okay. All right, so we've declared our very first controller. It's a very, very simple controller, so simple that it doesn't really do much, right? So let's go on and start actually putting something interesting in that controller, and we'll do that next.